Alright, let's see what have we today. Let's zoom out a bit. So yesterday we started very low with a big gap to the downside, and the gap was filled, which is quite bullish. We ended up with a spike to the upside, getting above point of control, so shorts were squeezed a bit, and now we are starting with a gap to the upside, so quite emotional market behavior, low liquidity maybe, and the moves are exacerbated because we are gapping both ways. We were somewhat extended to the downside. Now it seems to be a little bit extended to the upside after yesterday. So yesterday was long, and overnight is 100% long. We had bigger volatility after news came, and almost got to Friday's highs, but we sold off and got within yesterday's range. So let's think of what today can bring. Sorry. I think that since we are opening higher, the value will be probably developing higher, and it really depends on early actions. So if, assuming that overnight inventory is long, we should see some initial move to the downside, an attempt to fill the gap, maybe to overnight point of control, or even fill the gap, and maybe find responsive buyers. Ideal for me would be look into the spike zone and get a strong rejection. Then I would be buyer here to get us back higher, maybe revisit overnight highs and this high. Second scenario would be if we get initial move to the upside that fades, but that's a little bit harder, so I think that we should see some more printing with an excess higher, and after second period starts printing, maybe then look for a pullback, but I'm not sure about this one, since it is like counter trend for the short term trend, so it can either happen here or maybe here, but ideally it would be within overnight range, so a weak attempt higher. So this would be a second scenario to the downside. And third one, probably the best for short, an quite early short, if we get inside, but instead of getting higher we move lower and, for example, make an attempt that fails to get us above, and then start revisiting other references. So if we start printing acceptance here and here, then I would like to short. I'm trying to think of a good trade location, so shorting here and having a stop loss on the excess high is not that ideal, but probably good in terms of risk to reward, because we can traverse back to point of control, which was quite lower, sorry. So it would be still like 2 to 1, maybe. So first scale would be maybe around 1-to-1, or just without scaling out, just full trade back to point of control. And since we get within value, if we don't get rejection out of value, so like an excess low and start printing higher, then we could see us traversing into the previous day's lows. So maybe that would be a good opportunity. And of course, if we don't get a trend day, so if we start building balance higher or slightly higher, so the profile looks like that, not too tight, but within reasonable size, then I might start trading rotational. And depending if we get extension higher or lower, then I would favor that side, IB extension, I mean. So if A and B period prints, like, let's say like this, then we get a pullback that doesn't breach highs and then get higher. I would like to look for another attempt at lower part of the balance, but it really depends how the day develops. For early trades, I think that those that I mentioned are valid.